All right. Yeah. Welcome everybody to our second community Q&A, and I have my good friend Ant Haynes by my side. Ant, good to see you.
Salami, how are you?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while, yeah.
Ant just finished the DFC workout. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. It's good run through. With these workouts, because it is what it is, a big competition.
Yeah.
With the restructuring of the CrossFit game season, it's important that you do give it your best shot. So, although you do pour your utmost into the first attempt, there's always ways to improve and always different ways to attack it and whatnot.
Yeah,
But it was good fun.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I made a little compilation of that. Hopefully, loading that up soon. So, what's happening within this community Q&A? We get our community to ask questions. We gather those questions, combine them, and let one of our coaches answer them to you. So today that's going to be Ant, and we're going to delve straight in.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Good. So our first question, a very actually interesting question I feel, is how do you combine being a coach with being an athlete? How do you combine those two? How do you find balance?
It's been actually a journey. I think when I first started CrossFit 5 years ago now, it was nowhere near as competitive as it is now. There was not as much science out there, so it was kind of just like beast yourself in the gym, train, work with your clients, so on and so forth. And it was just like a daily easy thing. Now when you start to take it more seriously, you got sponsors involved, you got prize money, you got essentially your living's on the line, but also your job as well and your career. So yeah, I mean, balancing the two has been hard. It's been hard when I basically, like I said, used to bury myself in the gym, pick myself up because I know in 5 minutes I got a client coming in. So and I was able to kind of switch on, switch off, and it was easy. But nowadays, as I push more and I think more about my workouts, it's more important that I allow myself enough recovery time to do certain things. And as you go through your kind of coaching career as well, you obviously develop relationships and you develop clients, and you get clients who understand what you do as well, and they can be very sympathetic and flexible with that, which is awesome. So I've managed to gather that kind of community around me as well. So that's been a great help. But of course, being an athlete, it's things like minimum 7 to 8 hours sleep, something that I've been terrible with. Warm-up, recovery, cool-down protocols, which again I've been terrible with. Eating, I used to be terrible with. I'm great now. But in terms of my eating before, I used to basically skip meals, so up to like 7 to 8 hours. I used to plow through 4 hours of clients. I mean, it's a balancing act, just like anyone else would with like their lawyer job, having to work in the office and then having a kid at home, but then also getting to the gym, then also having enough time for their husband or wife. It's the same thing. So just being able to balance it. Luckily, those two work hand in hand together. And like I said, the community here at Coastal Fitness is awesome, and my particular clients that I train one-on-one, do my remote coaching with, are super flexible.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. So, second question. What makes Coastal Fitness strength and conditioning program so different from other programs out there?
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, something that myself, Ed, and actually before Andy Bratsanos developed a while back. We originally got into CrossFit, or the sport of conditioning, or strength and conditioning, whatever you want to call it. We actually got into it through Andy. He introduced us to it. I know Ed thought when he first saw it, like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's crazy, it's chaotic, there's no linear progression and whatnot. But as the sport has basically evolved, so has scientific principles behind it, adapting and evolving in terms of how any athlete can adapt and evolve and change and be better in the sport. But with that, obviously within our strength and conditioning program, we have 3 different tracks. So we've got fitness, performance, competitors. Now, although of course the competitors have higher complexity in their movements, they have higher skill work, high levels of skill work, we expect them to move more load, so on and so forth. We still try and keep as much of that community aspect in there as well. So we do run all 3 of the tracks within one strength and conditioning class, which gets that community feel in there, slapping on the arse, G'ing each other up, all that sort of stuff, it's in there. The fitness guys, they don't necessarily have to move on. I know in a lot of programs you will see like people naturally will want to make a progression forward, but like our fitness program, which is, I guess you can call it level 1, with the competitors being level 3. With that being like a level 1, we've got guys who stayed in there for 3 or 4 years already, and they love it in there, and they've seen great results, and they're not necessarily looking to dive into the sport of fitness, which is where the performance competitor program comes in, and that kind of targets the CrossFit Open. Again, I guess that's a great area right now with how the sport is. But that targets more the CrossFit Open and like regional or Asian competitions. But like I said, the fitness program is it's based around longevity. It's based around health, feeling good, looking good naked, body composition, getting strong, and being healthy for the life that you live, not necessarily competing in any sort of sport. So that's where the kind of uniqueness of our program comes in. And if people think they want to move into the sport, they can do that by, obviously we have prerequisites for our certain classes, but no, it's a really cool program, and we've got a great community with it within Hong Kong. We've got loads of guys now doing it overseas, almost up to 100 athletes who are overseas. I know, shout out to the guys in Singapore. They've got a big community over there doing pure fitness. But no, it's really cool. It's a good program to get involved with.
Awesome. Good. So a very interesting question, because you have, of course, this background in rugby.
Yeah.
How has this been a challenging transition going from rugby to being a CrossFit athlete?
I think the basic principles of rugby was always there. Being competitive. Obviously, it's very different from being an individual and being in a team sport. But the idea of being competitive, being disciplined, being committed, having responsibility, things on and off the field, which I guess you can say within training and competition, very similar to that. I think my biggest challenge moving from rugby to CrossFit was initially when I was still doing both of them. They didn't complement each other at all. I was trying to do both of them full time, and like, as you know, there's only so much the body can handle before I started getting run down. Small injuries were coming in, wasn't eating enough, so I was just basically hanging on by the skin of my teeth. Once I gave up rugby for various reasons, I moved into CrossFit. I really enjoyed it. I think the biggest challenge for me once I fully moved over was movement. Movement was overheads, right? Overhead, even the squat, hinging mechanics, just understanding it properly. We had coaches before, but they had a large number of players to try and control different positions, different body types, different movement, all that sort of stuff. So I never really understood it as much. I just had like grit my teeth and push a weight overhead, or what I thought was overhead when it was out here somewhere. But improving movement I think was the number one thing, and I think even now, movement is a massive priority within my programming. It's not just get downstairs, stick a barbell overhead. I actually have to take time to warm up nowadays. I'm not 21 years old anymore, just stick a bar overhead and just throw myself to the bottom of the squat. But with that obviously comes the research, the techniques that you practice day in and day out, and then you forward on to your clients and whatnot. But I think movement was probably my biggest challenge there. But otherwise, the actual base level fitness and strength conditioning, that was all there already. So just trying to perfect movement and go.
Nice, interesting, great. So next question. I know, like I see you with all these Tupperwares full of meals. Yeah. So I'm very curious where you started and how it has evolved into, I don't know how many calories you're eating now, like 5,000 or?
No, I wish 5,000. I could always eat more. So I'll start at the beginning. I guess when we got into CrossFit, paleo was a big thing. Everyone's like, oh, you got to eat paleo, it's the healthiest way forward. And I took that as, screw it, I'll eat no carbs, and I just eat a ton of protein. So I remember I used to go to Hong Kong Football Club, and we'd do this thing called a one plate buffet, and I would actually just chuck on like lamb, massive beef steaks, chicken, anything I think of, like a huge plate, and I would get like a little side dish of steamed broccoli, and that would be my lunch. And my breakfast and dinner would look exactly the same. So I was like basically ODing on protein. I had nothing else in there. But again, like I was training for like 4 or 5 hours a day, CrossFit, rugby, burying myself every time. I had like a little spare tire around my gut which I couldn't get rid of. And I was like, right, what is going on? Like, this is the way to eat. Eventually, again, as I started to learn more, we started incorporating more carbohydrate into my diet. But it still didn't really fix it. I didn't really understand macronutrients and balancing and all that sort of stuff, and I didn't really want to do that, if I'm honest with you. It just seemed like there was too much going on. I couldn't be bothered to weigh stuff, and I hadn't really given it enough time and thought. So I was lucky enough to get picked up by Nova 3 Labs, who's one of my sponsors, and I now work with Kylie, she's an awesome nutritionist. I actually spoke to her last night. I speak to her every 2 weeks. We started right back down. We actually went back to my initial spreadsheet. So it started with me weighing my food. I was like, this is going to be boring. I don't think this is for me. Weighed my food for a week, put it into MyFitnessPal, it was all a nightmare. It was really like fiddly, and I couldn't be asked with it, to be honest with you. And here I am, like 2.5 years later, and I couldn't live without a scale.
Wow.
I find it keeps me sane. I feel it keeps me like my energy and my mood is great. My recovery is spot on. I don't feel like I need anything else right now. And without like, you know, bi-monthly catch-ups that we have, that, you know, if I need to change anything, she's there to talk to me about it straight away. I can just drop a message every morning if I need to. Watch my weight, watch my calories, how much I'm eating. If you want to know, I eat about just shy of 4,000 calories.
All right.
I think I'm on like 220 protein, 530 carbs, and only 85 grams of fat.
Wow.
But no, I love it.
It works for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, you know, we're still bumping up my macronutrients, so I'm trying to basically eat as much as possible without pushing my weight up.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's not an aesthetic thing, it's an athletic goal.
Yeah.
The more I can eat, hopefully the more I can recover if the body still handles it and breaks it down properly.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it's just something that I really enjoy. I know, again, like, it's not for everyone. I would never push it to my clients unless they really wanted to do it, because it's something that you have to be 100% invested in. If you're going to kind of 50% half-ass it, it doesn't work. And that just leads to like negative effects down the line. But yeah, I love it. But I mean, you know, a balanced lifestyle is enough for most people. So,
absolutely. That's awesome, great. So, a question asked by a brother actually: should a coach practice what he preaches?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I think that a coach needs to have seen results and tried and experimented with any methodology of training before you impart it onto a client or an athlete that you have. And whether that comes through self-experimentation, you can do that. You know, if you're going to throw someone into a small squat protocol and you've never seen the effects of it, you've just seen and heard that it's going to be great, to throw someone down in the deep end there is just irresponsible to coach. You know, you should have seen someone do it before, or practice it yourself, or, you know, read up numerous studies on it. But yeah, I mean, to be able to practice what you preach, yes, you should understand movement. Yes, there's with CrossFit, where I work in the sport of fitness, there's so many different movements, and trying to educate someone and teach someone a movement that is hard, that you can't demonstrate yourself, it becomes just more difficult. So being able to do it yourself is definitely a plus. But, you know, verbal cueing, tactile cueing, all the visual cueing, all this sort of stuff that a coach should be able to do, that should be enough. But at the end of the day, I think being able to demonstrate it and being able to do it is definitely a plus side. Like I said, I think it'd just be irresponsible to chuck someone down into like an 8 to 12 week protocol without having done it before.
Yeah, so true.
Or at least having seen results.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. But yeah, I think there are, you know, two sides to it. You know, you look at the weightlifting world now, you got guys who are like 70, 80 years old, they're not gonna throw themselves down under 100 kilo snatch yet. They've got the best lifters in the world under their wings. So you know, you can formulate a team and get a team around you as a coach, which is what we have here at CrossFit as well. Luckily, we're all young enough and still functioning well enough to be able to demonstrate all the movements. But yeah, I mean, you know, if one day, you know, I busted my shoulder up, I could say, hey, go talk to Saad. Saad will be able to demonstrate the movement for you. Here are your cues. You know exactly what I'm talking about, because we gather this sort of stuff as a team. But yeah, I think there are two sides to the coin.
Yeah.
Generally, yes, practice what you preach.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. So I have two more questions before we finish up. So we have different services within CrossFit Fitness, right? And something that is very unique about our gym is our iTrain service, right? So there's a lot of people that maybe are very interested, because it has become a trend, to get a remote coach, to change things up. Anybody that has questions with regards to it, or before delving into that path, which type of advice do you have for these people?
I think it's, again, without going into like massive detail with it, I think the iTrain service is something that is, again, is very, very similar to the to what I was talking about with nutrition before. You must be committed with it. That's the first thing. If you're not willing to buy in 100% to what the coach is giving you, then it's not going to work. Again, we always expect at least like a 3-month kind of buy into it, because you would never give someone 1 week to prove himself with something like the human body that needs to adapt over 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So with the iTrain program, first things first, you got to have an attitude that's committed, and you got to be responsible for it. Doesn't matter if you're doing 3 sessions a week or you're doing 6 sessions a week. You got to be fully bought into it. You got to be committed, and you have to be responsible. I think one of the biggest problems that I've run into before with remote coaching is, you know, I can give so much. I can give you YouTube videos. I can give you demonstrations. I can give you feedback. I can give you we can do voice calls and all that sort of stuff. But if the client isn't invested in themselves, then they're not going to progress. Mm-hmm. You know, if I ask you to do a movement in, let's say, the snatch, and I've given you all these technique videos, but you still don't quite understand it, and your first thing is to go and ask the coach without even having maybe check out another YouTube video or maybe do a little bit of your research by yourself. You know, it's kind of irresponsible, and responsibility just as much lies on your shoulders as it does with the coach. Especially when it's like an overseas one, or maybe the coach doesn't quite see that the athlete, how they work and what they're doing. That's like something that's always missed in there. I would always say the number one level is personal training. Your eyes on by a coach. It's there. The next level would probably be like a group class, where you still have a coach there, you still have the eye there, you can ask the question, you get immediate feedback, and then next level down would be like an iTrain or remote program, because you do have that delayed feedback loop. It is hard to see, if you're doing a 10-minute AMRAP and you just give me your score at the end, I'll be like, that's a good score. How do you feel? And you went, I felt okay. But I didn't see that 5 minutes in you were grimacing, 5 minutes in you were dropping the dumbbells because your grip was gone, or 5 minutes in you were actually hands on your knees dying. That's something that a coach can't see. But for the iTrain, you can get great results off it because it is programmed individually, specifically for you, and whatever your goals might be, whether it's body comp stuff, whether it's the sport of fitness, whether it's just general strength and conditioning. It is perfect for that. It's definitely flexible for people that travel, but again, if you're traveling, you've got to be committed to it, because the coach will understand you're flying a 12-hour trip away, and if you're not getting 8 hours of sleep in, then it's going to be hard to train the way we train in Hong Kong, or whatever the case might be. So there's a lot of stuff in there. I think the most important thing with iTrain is really clear communication with the coach, and just being committed to it and having the right attitude with it.
Absolutely. It's not for everybody.
It's definitely not for everyone. No.
True. So, what makes Coastal Fitness, what do you love about our gym? Why are you so proud of Coastal Fitness? I know you're proud.
Definitely proud of Coastal Fitness. I've been here now for coming up on 9 years, I think. So it's obviously it's Ed's baby, but I've been here from the start, so it's been great to see where we are now, and see guys like you obviously you come from a very different descent. You were working in the sandpit for ages. We got Alex come over as well, we got Jacques, we got loads of different cultures just within the coaching team, let alone out there in the community. We're growing loads of services, and it's expanding at a crazy rate, which is awesome. We're packing out classes, we're bringing people through our own apprenticeship programs. Like I said, we're attracting coaches from overseas. We're still developing within our own business as well, which is great. I think it speaks volumes of itself when we actually, this might be shooting ourselves in the foot, but we don't really advertise too much because we don't need to at the moment. We've got fantastic clients and athletes who basically throw our name out there, and it's always positive things that's come out of it. So we got guys, we've only ever had a couple of coaches leave, but it's always been good feedback, and then we get another guy come in like yourself. So it's been awesome. We're trying to pick up things like the community feel of it. We have the Coastal Junk. We just ran a really successful in-house team competition, which we had people participate from personal training, private group training, our boot camp, and also strength conditioning classes. So it's been great, and the community feel that we have here is unbelievable. Everyone supports each other. Everyone likes to give each other a tap on the ass whether they're feeling, down, or they hit a good lift or whatever it might be. But love it here, and looking forward to the next 3 years within Victoria Centre, and see how it goes, and see if we expand from there.
Yeah, awesome.
I think I do have one thing to say. I know Lee Coates was asking me about my hair.
Okay.
Yes, I am growing out my hair. I am growing out. So I'm trying to get it back up into the man bun.
Do you want to match it up to the length of
the top hair? Hopefully, It's I've got a long way to go. And I am also growing my moustache. You can see it on there. That's about 3 years worth of growth. 5 days.
I support that. I support that mustache. It's almost November as well, so.
Yeah, it's just warming up.
Yeah.
Just trying to get the hairs ready to come out. When it's winter, they go away.
Yeah.
It's evolution, you know. Yeah.
All right, Ant, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Lami.
It was a real pleasure,
Thank you,
and
sir.
looking forward to our next conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.